So coming to the subject anatomy, the introduction. Anatomy means ana, that is cut open. Anatomy. Tomy means that is opening up. So anatomy, you study anatomy. Okay, cutting open the body. Okay, so when it is called as anatomy, it should be called human anatomy. Otherwise, anatomy can be related to animals also. So what you study in the medicine, that is human anatomy. You cut open the human body, dissect the human body and study the structures. Okay. In similar way, physiology you study about the functioning of all the human organs and structures. So how this early development of anatomy came into place? While the ancient Greeks, they gave birth to the rational medicine. This is related to the conventional system. Okay. So we can give the relation to the Greeks. Okay. They gave birth to the rational medicine. The subsequent exploration went into the scientific anatomy. It was not so much technical during those times. Okay. But as the medicine was being explored, okay, by debate and by reflection, but not through so much of clinical experimentation. Okay, so it went on, they went on exploring things. Okay, finally, in 15th century, there were also found some illustrations, also diagrams were found. Okay, then came in the 19 in the 129 203 AD. Okay, that was long before. Okay, the first anatomist you can say was the Galen. He was more influential. Okay, he was a Greek physician and philosopher. Okay, who had certain theories. Okay, theories about the observation of the anatomical structures. Okay, he built theories on health and anatomy. Okay, on based on the observation inference. Okay, he also made some diagrams. Okay, he also introduced the first depiction of four-chambered human heart. Otherwise, nobody knew that heart has four chambers. But somehow he uh, illustrated this four-chambered human heart. This is one diagram which you see. Okay, Galen was dissecting a pig. Okay, and then he found the different organs and structures and all. So at that time, animals were used for anatomical dissections, and they related it with the human body. Okay, there was no permission to dissect the human body. Okay, so they did the experiments on animals, and then they compared those structures with human body. Okay, in that way he depicted that human heart also may have four chambers. Then came Vesalius. Now Vesalius, he was much more a reformist. What he did, he said partially dissected bodies in dramatic landscapes. Okay, at that time, because the human dissection was not allowed, people used to bring the buried bodies. They used to dig it and bring it and keep it in the bedrooms below their beds. And at night, they used to remove it and then they used to do the dissection. Okay, they were the scientists. Okay, so they wanted to know more and uh, wanted to introduce all these things into the medical knowledge. So Vesalius said partially dissected bodies, and then his work dispelled many misconceptions that were put up by Galen's theories. So Galen's theories were all based on what? Animal dissections. Okay, so Vesalius, what he did? He cut the real human bodies. Okay, so he bought the cadavers from the graves and he hid it under the beds, and then at night he used to get up and then he used to dissect the body. Okay, so that was a hidden affair. And then he put up many of the ideas which contradicted Galen's theories. Then Descartes was another human anatomist who also incorporated his mechanical views on the human body, which were also based on his own anatomical dissections. So he also did the human dissections, and then he also put up many of his ideas. So that was about the Descartes and Vesalius. So Vesalius is called as the father of anatomy. Okay, Vesalius is called as father of anatomy. Then in 1600 onwards, what happens? 16th century onwards, scientific interest in human body increased, and Until then, 1800, the practice of anatomy flourished. So until 1800, you'll find that all anatomy, the importance of anatomy, everybody came to know about the importance of anatomy, and it was largely introduced into the medical science. Okay, and people started understanding the structures and the functioning and all that, and then they could apply all their medicinal knowledge to the structures which they have studied. So this growing interest, scientific interest in the human body, is reflected in the arts and philosophy also. Like you can see Leonardo da Vinci, he drew so many of the histological structures. Okay, so in the form of art. Then modern anatomy became more scientific oriented, and then people started studying anatomy as a medical subject. Now, coming to teaching of anatomy, why human anatomy is important here in medical education. Okay, it has become an essential element. In the first year, you have the human anatomy. Unless you understand human anatomy, unless you understand the human physiology, you can't proceed further in the medical studies. Okay, if you eliminate these two subjects, anatomy and physiology, okay, there will be no understanding of any other subjects. So total application of all the medical education is based on human anatomy and physiology. So make your foundation strong by studying all this human anatomy and physiology in the first year. So that is why we stress more on human anatomy and physiology. You need to study these two subjects properly, and that is why the universities also reduced your workload, your study load. Previously there were 5 subjects for you people. Now you have only 3 subjects: human anatomy, physiology, and pharmacy. Okay, so that you can study well, and your workload is also reduced. Okay, so we strongly believe that the laboratory experience based on the dissection of human body, okay, it is the cornerstone of human anatomy training for the medical students. So unless you do the dissection of the human body, you will not get an idea of the structures. Okay, unless you do it practically yourself, you alleviate the fear of facing a cadaver, okay, or touching the cadaver, okay, and exploring the structures. Okay, all these is to alleviate the fear, first of all. Secondly, you get the feel of handling the human body. Okay, so further, when a real patient also comes with to you, you will not have a fear of touching the patient. You do the minor procedures, okay, examination of the patient, all this fear goes away. Okay, so to alleviate this fear also, it forms an important cornerstone. Attempting to teach clinical anatomy through the textbook presentation alone does not adequately prepare the medical practitioner of tomorrow. Do you agree with this? Whatever the clinical anatomy, when you have anatomy, it has various branches. Like anatomy, as their proper anatomy is divided into several divisions. Okay, so human anatomy is studied through systemic way, that is systemic anatomy, system wise, like cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the skeletal system, the muscular system. Okay, so all these systems are there. System wise, it is studied. Otherwise, another division of that is radiological anatomy. Through radiology, you study anatomy through X-rays. Okay. Then you have the histology. Histology is the study of the microscopical structure of the body, all the tissues. Okay. So microscopical anatomy is there, or histological anatomy. So histology is there. So in this way, you have various divisions in anatomy, and you study it through various approaches. In the similar way, clinical anatomy is the application of the knowledge of all the structures of human anatomy to the clinical knowledge. Okay, for example, I'll tell you, if you know that liver is present in the abdomen, okay, it is present in the right hypochondria, extending from the umbilicus. Okay, so it is present in the right hypochondrium. So when it is in normal anatomy, it is situated in a proper plane, and suppose there is a enlargement of liver, okay, hepatomegaly is there, then how would you understand it? Okay, how would you understand the hepatomegaly? Okay, so if you know the normal position of the liver, you will be understanding whether the liver has enlarged. If you don't understand what is the normal position of the liver, then you'll not understand what is the abnormal position. Means if in case the liver has enlarged, it will extend the boundaries usually in which normal planes it is situated. It will extend it, it will go away from that boundaries. So you will be able to palpate that liver. Okay, you'll be able to palpate the liver in the abdomen. So it is very important to understand the clinical anatomy. So we attempt to teach the clinical anatomy also in relation with the anatomy through the textbooks. So simply reading from textbooks, one will not be able to understand it. Okay, so that is why the dissection is also important, practicals are important, okay, and clinical anatomy is also important. So coming to the divisions of the clinical anatomy, where you will be able to understand medicine in a way where you are going to examine the patients. Okay, so that is what is clinical anatomy. Now coming to the homeopathic philosophy, how it is related with the homeopathy, anatomy and homeopathy. Why it is important? Why anatomy, human anatomy, study of human anatomy is important in BHMS? Hmm? Why it is important? Why do you think it is important? Hmm? Because even though you're homeopathic students, that doesn't mean you're not going to study human anatomy. You have all these things. Human anatomy, you have human physiology, you have as a subject, you have pathology also. Okay, you have the preventive medicine, you have the medicine, okay, and you have surgery as a subject, you have uh, gynecology as a subject. So many, all the subjects which are taught in the MBBS are taught to you. And apart from that, you have additional knowledge of the homeopathic philosophy and materia medica also. Okay, so you are nowhere back than any other system of medicines. So how is this anatomy education important in your homeopathy syllabus? When coming to that, anyway, the patient, when he comes to you with the disease symptoms. Okay, and at that time you are supposed to examine the patient. Okay, unless you know what is normal, you'll not be able to examine the patient who is in abnormal condition, where his organs are not functioning well, where his organs have had undergone some changes, anatomical changes. At that time, it's utmost essential to examine the patient and to understand his or her structures which have become abnormal. Okay, so through various things like radiology or USG, okay, where you are going to look at the organs only, so those things also you will be understanding when you study human anatomy. Okay, so that's about importance of human anatomy and your syllabus. Okay, so what is it? It is a study of form and structures of the body, okay, the organs, the systems, and regularities of the development of structure in the relation to its function and external environment. Apart from all this, you also study about the embryology. Embryology is what? Study of the fetus right from the conception, okay, till the delivery. Okay, embryology. So here, structure and function and form is studied in the anatomy. Function is studied where? In physiology, functioning of all the organs. Hmm? And form, how it is related to homeopathy. When in homeopathy we consider man as a human being, as a individual. Individuality is very important in homeopathy. So when we say individual or a human being, That means consists of structure, function, and form. That is the personality. Okay, structure, function, and the total form. So what is the form? It is the presentation. Presentation of what? Structure and functioning. Okay, structure and functioning, and also his mental abilities. Okay, all that represents the individualization. Okay, so this is the trinity. Trinity to make understand the person in health and disease. Okay, that is how it is related. So in homeopathy, what we do, we treat the man in disease, not the disease in the man. What is the meaning of this? Man in disease and disease in man is different or same? Tell me, how do you understand this sentence? Homeopath treats man in disease and not the disease in man. What do you understand by this term? What is man in disease and disease in man? Hmm? Tell. Tell. What do you understand by this term? When you say man in disease, that means you're focusing on the man. Okay, that is, man is the completeness of an individual. Okay, completeness of individual consists of the body, the person's body structures. Okay, the person's mentality, the person's functioning of the body structures. All this includes the man or the individual. Okay, who is suffering. Disease means in suffering. Okay, so homeopath treats the man in disease, the man who is suffering. Okay, and not the disease in man. Means we are not focusing on the disease, we are focusing on the total human being. Okay, that is why homeopathy is called as a holistic science, where we consider, we give importance to the man. Okay, that is, we give importance to the human being who is suffering. Okay, so you find humanity in homeopathy. Okay, we find the importance given to the person suffering. Okay, not the disease in the man, but man in disease. That is the difference there. Okay, so when a person comes to you as a patient and he tells you that, ma'am, I'm having headache. Okay, and my headache is terrible in the afternoon. It starts in the morning and it's terrible in the afternoon until evening. Okay, when evening, till evening, it disappears. Okay, and every day it is repeating, comes in the morning. Okay, at afternoon it increases, and evening it is disappearing. Every day this is happening since last 2 years. Okay, then we ask, what is the sensation of that headache, what kind of headache you get, where is the location of that headache, where you, this headache means it's not simply headache, it can be in the forehead, it can be on the vertex, it can be in the occiput, it can be in the temples. Okay, so the location is there. Okay, so you ask, where is the location, where is the headache, you know, and how it appears. It starts in the forehead. You may see that it starts in the forehead and then slowly extends to the vertex and then goes back to the occiput, and it repeats every day in that way. Then you ask you, what is the sensation, what kind of headache you have. Some people have dull headache, some people have throbbing headache, some people have a hammering headache. You might have experienced, if you, anytime if you had a headache, okay, and when you compare the headache with somebody else, okay, somebody may say that डोकं फुटेल असं वाटतंय. That kind of headache. हा, आणि काही जणांना कसला हेडेक होतो, डल पेन असतं. हा, खूप डल पेन असतं. आणि काही जणांना कसला हेडेक असतो, ऍसिड हॅमरिंग. ओके, दे मे से दॅट, हातोड्याने मारल्यासारखं दुखते. So there are different kinds of headaches. Every headache is not same. Now that person will say, my headache aggravation is more in the afternoon. Okay, afternoon. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Somebody unmute yourself. Pallavi, all of you unmute yourself. Sorry, mute yourself. I'm sorry. Pallavi, mute yourself. So what happens? Every kind of headache is different. Okay, sensation is different. Location may be different. Okay, aggravation may be different. Some people may have headache in the afternoon, which is more is severe in the afternoon. Some people have severe headache in the morning. Some people have severe headache in the evening, at midnight. So how will you distinguish the headache? Hmm? So every man is different. That is what I mean to say. In homeopathy, we consider the human being as an individual who has a different kind of disease. And same disease, but different kinds of symptoms. Okay? So we treat the man in the disease, but not the disease in the man. Okay? So we understand the suffering of the human being. Okay? So that is what is important here. So if he treats man as a whole, when a homeopath treats a man as a whole, it is imperative that he understands the internal mechanisms of the man. Okay, so we understand his sensations, we understand what kind of suffering he is having. Along with that, he may have some mental symptoms also, mind symptoms also. His headache may be aggravated because of tension. Okay, his headache may might have aggravated because of some kinds of sounds and noise. Okay, so the causation is also important, the location is important, his sensations are important, the modalities, that is aggravation and amelioration is different. कशामुळे बरं वाटतं? झोपल्यानंतर बरं वाटतं. ओके, किंवा बाहेर फिरून आल्यावर बरं वाटतं, ओपन एअर मध्ये गेल्यावर बरं वाटतं, बंद खोलीत डोकं दुखायला लागतं. Okay, so these kinds of symptoms each person has. Okay, every person has different kinds of symptoms. So we treat a person as a whole human being. Okay, for example, another example I will give you. When a person comes to you with a fever, there are 5 patients in a row in your waiting room of the clinic, and you find that one person comes with the same kind of coryza, cold. Okay, सर्दी झालेली आहे. सर्दीचे सिम्पटम्स सगळ्यांना एकसारखेच असतात की नाही? हं? सगळ्यांना एकसारखे असतात की नाही? हं? सगळ्यांना नाक वाहतो, सगळ्यांना डोकं दुखतं,
हो
सगळ्यांना डोकं दुखतं, सगळ्यांना नाक वाहतं, सगळ्यांना शिंका येतात, थोडीशी ताप पण येते,
हो
व्हायरल असेल तर जास्त ताप येते, बॉडी पेन होते, हेडेक होतं, हे सगळे सिम्पटम्स असतात सर्दीमध्ये, कोरायझामध्ये. मग होमिओपॅथी कसं ट्रीट करते कोरायझाला? क्रोसिन देऊन, सगळ्यांना क्रोसिन द्यायचं, सगळ्यांना आय विल अँटीहिस्टॅमिनिक्स द्यायचं नाही. सगळ्यांना सेम मेडिसिन नसते आपल्याकडे. एक माणूस पहिला जो माणूस आलाय त्याला फीवर आहे, त्याला कोरायझा आहे, शिंका येत आहेत. ओके, ही हॅज अ फीवर वेअर दी chill runs up and down the spine from neck to back. Okay, chill running up and down the spine, and then he has headache which is ameliorated by urination. तो बोलतो मला लघवीला गेल्यानंतर मग डोकं शांत होतं, दुखायला कमी होते. ओके, शिका येतात, तहान कमी लागते. ओके, आणि थंडी भरून येते मणक्यावरून. एक पेशंटचे असे सिम्पटम्स असतात. Then we give the person gelsemium because those symptoms are matching symptoms of gelsemium. We give gelsemium. Okay, his urination, after he passes urine, he feels better, his headache becomes ameliorated. Okay, another patient comes, he says, I'm having cough which is dry, and I'm having fever, and he's having constipation. Okay, dry knotty stools, and he feels thirst for large quantities of water. Okay, and his fever, it's after the, as the October heat is okay ending, during that time he is having fever. Okay, so that indicates bryonia. सो सेम सर्दी, पण आपण देतो त्याला ब्रायनिया त्याच्या सिम्पटम्सवर. आधीचा जो पेशंट होता त्याला कॉन्स्टिपेशनचा प्रॉब्लेम नाहीये, पण ह्या पेशंटला कॉन्स्टिपेशनचा प्रॉब्लेम पण आहे, फीवर पण आहे, शिंका पण येत आहेत, नाक पण कोंडते, थोडासा खोकला पण आहे, ड्राय खोकला आहे. तर ह्याच्या सिम्पटम्सवर आपण ब्रायोनिया त्याला दिला. ओके. दोघांनाही सर्दी होती, पण सर्दी दोघांनाही आहे. तिसरा पेशंट येतो. तिसरा पेशंट आल्यानंतर तो म्हणतो नाक वाहते खूप. ओके. आणि शिका येतात. आणि पाणी तहान कशी लागते विचारल्यावर म्हणतो थोडं थोडं पाणी पितो. चहा सारखं थोडं थोडं सिप्स द वॉटर. अँड ही इज व्हेरी अँक्झियस. ओके. वेटिंग रूम मध्ये बसलाय पण सारखं सारखं वाकून बघतोय. एवढा रेस्टलेस आहे की कधी मी डॉक्टरच्या केबिन मध्ये जातोय, इतका रेस्टलेस आहे. सारखा फोन लावतोय कोणाला तरी. मी एकटा बसलोय वेटिंग रूम मध्ये, लवकर या कोणीतरी सोबत ते बसायला मला. ही इज व्हेरी अँक्शियस, ही वॉन्ट समबडी विथ हिम. अँड इन दिस कंडिशन वी गिव्ह हिम आर्सेनिक. ओके. सो वी कन्सिडर द पेशंट ॲज अ होल. पूर्ण ऑब्झर्व करतो पेशंटला, त्याचे सगळे सिम्पटम्स आपण घेतो आणि त्याला मेडिसिन देतो. सो नो टू पर्सन्स आर सेम. आपले फिंगरप्रिंट्स पण आपल्याला सांगतात की टू पर्सन्सचे फिंगरप्रिंट्स तुम्ही कम्पेअर केलं तर इट विल बी नॉट द सेम. ओके. आय प्रिंट्स, iris image is also not same. Okay. So no two people are same. In the same way we consider individualism. Okay. So depending on the individualism we give the medicines. Okay. One beautiful example I will tell you. Now see, the corona is coming. Okay. Corona symptoms, how the corona symptoms are variable. Okay. Newer strains have come. Okay. So many strains are there and so many new symptoms are coming. In this condition homeopathy can work very well. It's working very well, in fact, I'm telling you. Okay. And it's a challenge for the modern medicine now that they're not able to find the proper medicines to treat the COVID patients. If we treat human being as an individual considering all these symptoms, it will work wonders. The person will be treated, okay, cured of the suffering. Okay. So in this way we treat man as a whole, and that is why we understand the whole internal mechanisms of the man as well as his external manifestations through the form of the symptoms. Okay. So we should know what a man is made up of. That is, the anatomy is also we have to understand. Okay. So it doesn't mean that when we're studying the symptoms, we should not understand the anatomy. That knowledge of anatomy you are going to apply while we are examining the patients. Okay. So we need to study about the systems. We need to study of the body function, and we should understand what happens when he falls ill to all these structures and functioning. Okay. These are some of the CCH guidelines, how to teach anatomy and all. So CCH is Central Council of Homeopathy, New Delhi, and they have given certain guidelines to teach anatomy for you people. Okay. So they have also mentioned that study of the cadaver is a means, okay, for the students, and they have asked that minute anatomical details need not be taught to you. Okay. They should not be burdened with minute anatomical details. So while you're thought about the anatomy, I'll tell you how to study it for your deeper understanding in relation to the clinical knowledge. Okay. So dissection of the entire body is essential for the preparation of student of his clinical studies. So that's about the. Now coming to the health, okay, concept of health in homeopathy. So what is health? When you study medicine, you should know what is health according to the medical terms as well as according to our homeopathic concept. Okay. Health as such is a condition in which the spiritual vital force rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operations as regards to both